Welcome to the Social for Brokers podcast. Today, we're talking all about how to generate more mortgage leads using something called funnels. So I've actually drafted in one of the experts, Louis Adkins from Labs Media, and he's helped some of his clients using these funnels that we're going to talk about. And what he's done, helped them generate 43 appointments, 43 leads that turned into 23 appointments, and actually at the cost of only £18 per booked appointment. So Louis knows exactly what he's on about. Now, if you've never heard about the term sales funnels or lead magnets, don't worry, because Louis is going to talk us through the exact process to take you from day one, from the very beginning, to the day where it can start generating leads. And if you listen to this in the car or in the gym, don't worry, you don't have to take any notes, because what Louis has got, he's got a free download that talks through every single step that we're going to talk through today. And we'll tell you how you can download that at the end of the episode. So, Louis, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Hi, Chris. Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No worries at all. So we are recording this in the first ever HD recording that will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, make sure you check us out on YouTube. And our emails are coming out every single week, so don't miss the chance to join our email marketing list. Last week we released an email on a script on how to get more social media followers. So if you jump onto our website on socialforbrokers.com, click the blog section at the top, and you can sign up to our email there. So that's my little plug. I'm done. Now we are here to speak to the expert, Louis. So before we get into it, Louis, you're a person that's been, I'll be honest, been making a few waves in the industry. And I'm seeing your name more and more and more. And we've had a chat before, and I would say you're one of the genuine guys in this area, because generating leads can become quite a sleazy practice, I think. Mm-hmm. So Louis is one of the good guys. So just remember that when we're talking about generating leads here. So give us a bit of your background, because you are actually sat in your halls at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah, so this is the background. I always apologize on calls, because it's probably not the best background to have a bed in the background, but I've tried to spruce it up with my books and things. So
awesome.
But yeah, so I'm at uni in my final year, just got my dissertation left to do, and then I'm all done with that. Started the business a year ago. Because really, I just really wanted to start my own thing. I was obsessed with starting a business, and I was always looking for something to do, but I never really had any money, being 19, until I stumbled across like agencies online, and it was like, if you just learn a skill and then you go and do it for a few people for free, and then you get good at it, then you can grow a business like that. And I was like, perfect, that sounds like something I could do. So that's what I started to do. And then skip to a year later, and this is where I am, basically. That's how
Fair play. I love it. And I knew I wanted to get Louis on the podcast, and knew that I'd click with him, because I remember it was a Thursday morning once, and I text Louis saying, I've seen you about, can we have a chat over the phone? Just want to understand what you do, like your content. And I phoned him at, I think it was 8:45 or 7:30 on a Thursday morning. And he's telling me about how he's still at uni and he's in his final year. And I was like, mate, why are you not hungover? Like, why are you not dying in bed at the minute? And Louis turned around and he goes, to be honest, a lot of my mates are that I stay with, but I'm committed to building this business. Hence why I'm having a call with you at 7:30 on a Thursday morning. So admire what you're doing, and I think it's very admirable. And a lot of people that listen to this will say, wow, he's building this business whilst he's in his final year at uni. And your plan is to grow this business and almost not leave your degree behind, but you've got your degree, but your main aim is to go and grow this business now, isn't it?
I'm just waiting to hand in my dissertation, graduate, and then I'll be full-time into this. But I think the reason why I do the work and I wake up early is it's not, I just find something that I'm really passionate about, and then it's just kind of taken over. And I think anybody, when they find that one thing, will they would do the same thing as me, basically.
Mate, so true. And there's a lot of people listening to this that will be in a similar position to you, where they're building that business and that's their passion to do it.
Yeah.
So we've got a bit of your background. We know what you're doing now. This summer is probably not going to be about going on holiday, is it? It's going to be about probably taking more and more clients on, because like you said, you're at uni and you don't want to take too much on. So you are looking after clients at the moment.
Hmm.
Can you give us a success story just to show the listeners, go, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing? Give us a bit of a success story of a mortgage advisor that you've helped, because you specialize in this area, don't you?
Yeah. So over the last 30 days, I've been working with one advisor. Well, I've been working with a few, but this one in particular, who's
Hmm.
had some really good results. So they have been running Google Ad campaign. I built the whole funnel for them and all the sequences, but we'll get into that a bit later.
Yeah.
And they've spent £427 total. So that's a very exact number.
Right.
8,000 people, 8,000 impressions have seen their
8,000.
ads. 380 people have clicked on their ads, but really, what most people care about is it's resulted in 42 leads, 23 booked appointments, and then working out at around about £18 per appointment. So it's been a really, really successful campaign.
Wow. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to get into exactly how to build a funnel that works like that. Now, obviously, Louis has the expertise; he's done it with other people before, but he's going to kindly talk you through how you can set it all up. So, first thing I'd ask before we get into it: how much budget do people need to start this type of thing?
That is a good question. Do you know what? That's one of the questions I get from basically everyone who first introduces like initial chat.
Yeah.
That's the biggest question everyone has, because I think as well for some mortgage advisors they've never really done ads before, and it can be a
Hmm.
bit of like a uncharted territory. So it's
Yeah.
which I understand. I would say I always say budget wise the best thing to do is work out, okay, well, what's your average case size? Like, say you do a mortgage
Okay.
with someone plus your fee, maybe it's what, £1,500 or something, it might be for some people. And if you work out that, then that's a good budget to have initially for your funnel, because that means you only need one person to break even. And it's a good sort of test budget. And then it's scaling to basically whatever you can
How much you
afford.
want to spend?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I asked you that question, because that is probably one of the biggest questions on people's heads.
Hmm.
How much do I need to spend to start seeing results? And like you say, I suppose if you say, well, if it's £1,500 that average case size and you get two cases for 1,500 quid,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? You're on to a winner. You're 750 quid up. But that's a fantastic £18 per appointment. And then, of course, it's down to the mortgage advisor then to convert that appointment into
Hmm.
written business.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's strip it completely back. I'm a complete novice, say. I've never done funnels before. I've never talked about lead magnets.
Okay.
Tell us, Louis, what is a sales funnel in its simplest form?
In its simplest form, I always say that a funnel is basically it takes someone who has no idea who you are, no idea about your business, and it converts them into a person who's like your biggest fan, who buys the product that you want them to and keeps coming back and keeps using you, in the case of a mortgage advisor, for their mortgage advice, keeps coming back to remortgage, gets protection with you, all those things. Takes them from not knowing who you are to being your lifelong, like a lifelong fan of your
Okay.
business, basically.
I like that because, yeah, with a funnel, you put so many things in at the top and then eventually it will all funnel down into that
Mm-hmm.
one thing. So, yeah, putting 100 people in at the top and getting one person out that is almost what we call a raving fan. That is essentially what that funnel is. Okay, so when I've sat down and got, right, I want to build a sales funnel, what
Yeah.
components, what tools, what skills do I need to start that process?
Skills do you need? Well, the first thing I'd say that you need to consider is picking a niche when you're starting. But if we're talking about skills, if you want to
Okay.
know about the actual skills of like building a funnel, I think one of the most important things is copywriting, which is a very important skill in marketing, as I'm sure you know. But
Hmm.
writing writing copy or writing words on your website or in your ads that persuades people or gets people to do the thing that you want them to do, or sells your advice in a good way. It's very like people have probably heard it before, like don't talk about the features, talk about the benefits. That sort of thing is
Hmm.
copywriting. That's a really important skill.
Okay, so could you give us some examples? So, say if I was targeting NHS mortgages, for example, I was targeting NHS mortgage,
Yeah,
people that worked in the NHS. So, instead of me saying we do NHS mortgages,
yeah.
what would be a better way of putting that across in the written part of the text?
Okay, so what I would first consider if I was doing it for NHS mortgages is what does someone who's in the NHS getting a mortgage, what problems do they have? What's like their pain points?
Okay.
You probably heard that come a lot. That's quite a
Hmm.
salesy term as well. What are their pain points? And then have a look and I go, okay, well they might struggle with this. The one I always think is quite simple to understand is like first time buyers. The things
Hmm.
that they struggle with is trying to understand the mortgage process because they've never, or understand buying a home because they've never done that before. So you talk
Yep.
about things like, look, we know the home buying process is confusing or can be confusing, and we're here to
Okay.
help it. We're here to make it easy for you. It's a much more powerful than like we help you get a mortgage to buy your first home. It's a bit more like we make the process really easy for you. We help you buy that home. We help you become a homeowner. Do you see what I
We
mean?
understand your pain point. And this is, look, guys, this isn't just for sales funnels. This is for copywriting 101, really. This is something that can help your social media post, your literature, or your website in general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we've nailed the niche. So we're looking at NHS. Okay,
Yeah.
we've found their pain points that they're bank nurses or they get paid in a certain separate way, and we
Yeah.
understand that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you then need to do? Are we looking at a landing page, or what? Where am I directing them? What's the next step?
Yeah, okay. So the first thing I always do with all the people that I work with is I go, okay, who's the small group we're going to target? And the reason for that is we've already touched on it, but different people have different problems in the mortgage process. Like self-employed or an NHS worker has different problems to a first-time buyer. So you have to like
Hmm.
tailor your funnel to solve those problems.
Okay, so it's not just a one size fits all. It's something that the certain funnel or lead magnet or landing page needs to
Yeah, needs to speak
be
to them.
specific for that group. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The whole reasoning behind it is so that when someone's scrolling, they look and they go, ah, that's for me. Like they know, like they can see. You see what I mean?
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So, say we were targeting NHS. Now, in my head, NHS workers probably don't have the time to sit down and read a 5-page PDF like a first-time buyer would do.
Hmm.
What kind of thing would you be giving them, or what would you be doing to try and get their information?
Yeah. Okay. So I've actually never done like a funnel for an NHS person before.
Okay, so say do one that you've done an example, say for first-time buyers or something that
Okay.
you've done before.
Well, the first thing, so if step one's picking a niche, the what I used to do when I first ever started, right when I started my business, was go like, okay, this is what we're going to do for them. But actually, the second step, which I've learned much like after making the mistake initially, is that the second step is that you then think about where you're going to generate the traffic from, or where you're going to find the people to go through your
Okay.
funnel. So it might be
Hmm.
that you decide, okay, we're going to go after first time buyers. Well, then you start thinking to yourself, where are first time buyers online? Like, where can I find them? And an example
Hmm.
is, well, on Google, people will search, how do I buy my first house? And they'll click a
Hmm.
link. So that's where you can find first time buyers. You can also post about them in certain groups about first time buyer Facebook groups or things like that. So
Hmm.
first thing is pick a niche, and then I'd think about, okay, where are those people online? So when I make the funnel, I know I've got enough people coming through it.
Right. Okay. So you're not running um, equity release adverts on TikTok because that's, you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Equity, that demographic doesn't spend that time there. Okay, great. So we've nailed the niche.
Yeah.
We've uh, thought about their pain points, and we're now thinking about where they're spending their time. Once we've got those three, what's
Hmm.
the next step then? Once we've found where they're spending their time, and give us an example of where they're spending their time.
Yeah. Okay. So once you've got like the who, and you've got
Hmm.
which in this case is first time buyers, and you've got the where, which is like where are they? Let's say they're searching on Google for like get a mortgage as a first time buyer. That's quite clear
Hmm.
that that's where they're going to be. Then I start to think kind of with the pains like, okay, well, what do they want to know? What are they struggling with? And first time buyers,
Okay.
a lot of the time, they want to understand the home buying process. They just want to know, what do I need to do to buy my house? So an offer that I put out a lot of the time with that I put out with first time buyers is you can do things like guides, but I also do like free consultation calls where it's like 15 minutes, half an hour to just sit down, and it's like, we'll answer all your home buying questions. Absolutely no obligation to get a mortgage with us. You don't have to be ready. You just sit down, and
Okay.
we'll talk to you about all the steps you need to do, and we'll outline it really, really plain and simply for you. That's an example.
Okay, that's interesting. So you would run a Google advert, and
Yeah.
you'd have to have some understanding of how Google Ads worked.
Hmm.
And some people do. There's lots of videos out there. So you would run a Google advert, and you can book a free 15-minute consultation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can do really cool things by like stacking these things on top. So you could be like, you can book a free consultation. We'll also give you a free guide that you can download as well to get your first home.
Hmm.
And then we'll also give you like a free checklist so you can tick off every step of the way. Like you tick off when you've found a house, you tick off when you've saved for a deposit, you tick off when you've got your solicitor or things like that. You can kind of
Hmm.
you can make it like a first time buyer bundle kind of
Oh,
thing,
okay, nice.
and that kind of
So,
increases the value of it.
okay, that's very Alex Hormozy, isn't it? If anybody's
Yeah,
listened
it
to
is
or
very much.
watched Alex Hormozy, he's fantastic. And he talks about this bundling and giving people as much value as physically possible. I'm just going to go into a quick Alex Hormozy thing here, which is really useful for mortgage brokers. Is whenever you are asked a question about something, make something of value that you can give the next person. So, for example, Louis there was talking about first time buyers. So, when you're on the phone to a first time buyer in an appointment, they might ask, what are the 5 things I need to ask an estate agent on a viewing? Okay. And you might say to them, right, ask them about, I don't know if it's leasehold or freehold, ask them, I don't know if there's, like how much the gas and electric costs, ask them what Wi-Fi there is in the area, and there's 5 things. Go and make it, just could be a very simple Word document or PDF. Go and put those into a Word document. Then when you have a call with a first time buyer next, you can say to them, even if they don't ask you the question, at the end of this call, I'm going to send you a free PDF with a tick list of 5 things you should ask your estate agent.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're adding more value. And that's what Louis is talking about, is you're creating a bundle. If you've got
Yeah,
that one PDF, then the next call, a first time buyer might say to you, who do I need to register with when I buy a house? And you go, okay, you need to speak to your council tax, you need to speak to the TV license, water, gas, electric. Put that in another guide for them. Then when you speak to a first time buyer next time, you can say, I've got a PDF to help you with your estate agent, but I've got a PDF to help you when you buy a house. And that becomes that bundle that Louis is talking about there.
hmm
Great book, isn't it? Those Alex Hormozy ones.
yeah, they're fantastic. And the other thing it does as well when you're adding all those different kind of bonuses is it distinguishes you from mortgage advisor B, is what I always say as well, because you are compete on Google Ads. If you've got going after first time buyers, well, there's other companies who go after first time buyers as well. But this is why, like, if you really tailor everything you're doing to first time buyers, and you get the checklist, you get the guides, you get the free call, then when they look at mortgage advisor U and mortgage advisor B, and they sit there and they go, "Ah, right, okay, well, with this person, I get all these things which help me with all of my certain problems. Whereas this person, they just do it for whoever and just said that they can help me." And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to go with this person because I got all this really helpful stuff.
Completely right. And that's what Louis is talking about there. Alex Hormozy talks about it as the category of one. So you can never be compared. Like Louis said there, mortgage advisor A, who gives you 20 guides of how to help you, compared to mortgage advisor B that just does an appointment. Mortgage advisor A is in a category of one because they're providing so much
Mm-hmm.
value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the things that people can do, say off the Google advert, is book a 15-minute consultation, which can lead to an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously the best way to do it, because book a 15-minute consultation, get into an appointment. But
Mm-hmm.
some people use other free tools, don't they? So that Google advert, if they click on it, could give them other pieces of value. Can you give us some examples of other things that mortgage advisors might give to people as a free
Yeah.
value adding tool?
So a great one is like a quiz or something like,
Oh, okay, a quiz, right?
especially for like specialist cases like adverse and things like that, because a lot of the time because this is the thing, it's really important to get into the head of the person you're trying to help, because what that
Okay.
person in adverse wants to know is, well, can I actually get a mortgage with my certain situations? And so if they can
Hmm.
just go online and do this quiz, and they can answer a few quick questions about like what they've done in the past with their credit, what would they rate their credit, do they have a CCJ or an IVA or something, and they can fill it in, and then at the end, it's depending on what they says, it might say, we can't help you right now, here's a free guide to go and do the steps you need to do. We might be able to help you, maybe it's worth booking a chat, or yes, we can definitely help, well, not definitely, but yes, we can help you get a mortgage, great news, come and book in a free consultation and we'll tell you the next steps. So you sort of, that's another one. It's giving the person what they want with a quiz and tailoring it to their
I like.
circumstance.
I've never seen the quiz actually, and I remember you telling me about this before, and it's really interesting. How would somebody create a quiz? What tools would you use?
Typeform is a good one, but that's paid.
Okay.
But it's really good. And
Mm-hmm.
the other really good one, which is free, is Jotform. And that's
Okay, yeah,
like,
I've heard of Jotform.
it's very just like drag and drop. You put your questions in, then it's like, are you looking to buy or remortgage? And clicks, and then it sends them to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
And that multi-step form layout is much better, by the way, because like if somebody goes to a page and it's got like 10 questions on it all in front of them, they're like, oh my god, that's way too many questions, I'm going to click off. Whereas if it's just one, then they answer the other one, and they answer the other one, it's a bit easier.
Yeah, it's like a story I used here when I was an estate agent about if you get one yes, you're more likely to get the next.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you go up to somebody's house and say, can I put a big sign in your garden saying estate agents sell houses in this area? They're going to say no. But if you go up to them and say, would you mind just putting this little sticker in your window saying we sell houses? If they say yes, and then a few weeks later you go and say, can I put a big one in your window? They're more inclined to say yes. And then can I put a massive sign in your front garden? If you get that yes, similar to those quizzes, if you get the first few questions answered, press next, they're much more likely to. And I suppose that helps with the quality of the appointments that are booked because they've invested some time in that survey compared to somebody that just booked an appointment. They might not turn up.
Yeah, it can it can filter out some of the people who are just looking for a quick, like, what can I get? Because they have to invest a little bit more effort into it. But another example is like you see them in a lot of places. Is like, and I know some people aren't very keen on them, but like mortgage calculators. The reason why they're so popular at getting leads is because at the end of the day, some people just want to know how much can I borrow, and if you can tell them, you can give them a rough guide in exchange for like an email. Well, that is a lead magnet, and it gives them what they want. So that is a good thing to do. But the problem with that is that it's so easy to fill in that with things like that, you do get a lot of time wasters.
Yeah, it's the barrier to entry, isn't it? If the barrier to entry is high, you're more likely to get a better appointment out of it. Okay, and you talked about the mortgage calculators, the PDFs, the booking the appointment, the filling out the quiz or the survey. Those are all lead magnets. So whenever anybody listen, if you hear the word lead magnets, that's exactly what we're talking about here. It's something that you are using as a magnet to draw yourself in a lead. And then what you spoke about there is getting an email. Why is it so important for people to get email addresses?
Yeah, getting the contact information is so important because once you've got that piece of contact information, you can basically essentially market to them with emails for free for as long as you want. So I always think this, I mean, you might see this as well with like your social media content. I do the same with my LinkedIn. It's like I can keep putting content out on LinkedIn, getting as much attention as I want. Same with ads. I can spend as much as I want on ads, but I'm always at risk of if my ads went wrong or if my LinkedIn profile got banned, I lose all of that. But if I can extract their emails off it, no matter what happens to LinkedIn, Instagram, if like Mark Zuckerberg decides that he doesn't want to do it anymore, no matter what happens, I've got that bank of emails and I can just send an email and I've still got my business. So I don't know if you've found that as well.
Oh, hugely. And I'm seeing a lot more Instagram influencers, I'll say very loosely, because when I say influencers, I think about these people swanning about in Dubai with these like Stanley Cups and that kind of thing. When I say influencers, I mean people that like Instagram people that help each other. And the guy on Instagram's like, guys, do not rely on your Instagram audience. He's got 100,000 followers. He says, but the other day I nearly lost my account. He says, but I've got a backup of 50,000 email addresses. So he can still market his services through email because that list belongs to him. Social media is fantastic, but remember, you don't own your audience. So the more people you can get signed up to your email list, the better. And this is another way to increase your email list is to get them to download a free lead magnet. Okay, so we're at the process now where somebody's filled out that quiz, they've put their email address in, they've maybe looked at booking an appointment. You will then do an email sequence, then, won't you, to try and nurture that client all the way through to appointment? Can you tell us what software you use and essentially how you do it, Louis?
Yeah, of course I can. So, first thing is that obviously at each stage, the reason it's called a funnel is because you do get some people who drop out, and so the funnel gets
Mhm.
narrower, narrower, narrower because some people leave, and they might download the free guide, but then they might not book that appointment. And
Yeah.
that's why it's important to get their email, because then you can send them email after email to get to the point where they do book an appointment. But
Yeah. Great.
yeah, so you get them to download the free thing, and then after they've downloaded the free thing, you show them the page to book an appointment, or you send them emails. And the software I use to do that is called the one I use is called Go High Level. That the way it works is that if I'm working with a broker, I can sort of put them onto that software. They have their own account,
Oh,
but the version of it for an individual to use, if they wanted to use it for their own business, is called Course Creator Pro, which is basically
okay.
like just Go High Level but made for one person.
Okay. Right.
And that's what and basically in there it has the tools to build the landing pages for your funnel or the website pages. It has the tools to send email automations, the tools to send text message automations, like the Calendly. It's not Calendly, but it's a similar booking system
Similar
to
kind of
Calendly.
thing.
So it has everything that you need.
That's class. So when you talk about email automations,
Mm-hmm.
what are they? What happens?
Yeah, so email automations are just as opposed to you like following up manually by sending emails to people. They're just pre-made emails that get sent out. And the way that an email automation sequence is like a series of emails that get sent out over a certain amount of time. Put
Okay.
simply
So
terms.
when they download that, they do the quiz and they kind of sign off and go, oh, yeah, I might want an appointment, but they don't book an appointment. You'll
Yeah,
send an email going, oh, thanks for taking part of the quiz. Wondered if you had any questions. That might be like a day after.
yeah.
And then 3 days later, sorry, you tell the story.
Yeah, so say someone fills in the quiz, the first thing, like once someone's filled in that quiz and they haven't booked the appointment, those first like 5 days, they're like at the most likelihood that they will book an appointment because they've
Okay.
you see what I mean? Like they're like in that
Yeah,
headspace.
mindset.
Exactly. And the sequence that I send is actually one it was coined by Russell Brunson, who's like the godfather of funnels. It's
Hmm.
called a soap opera sequence, which is basically one email every day for 5 days that tells a
Hmm.
story like a soap opera. And the point is,
Okay,
each
interesting.
email tells one story that leads into the next email. So you're always reading, and at the end, pitches the free appointment or the whatever the next step is.
Very interesting. And you can hear Louis here. He's not going to give away secrets of what that soap opera email looks like because clients are paying him good money to do. No, you don't give away the secrets. You want to you want to get people to reach out to you. But obviously, that soap opera sequence it obviously works very well because of 42 people that became a lead, 23 of them booked. So that's a fantastic conversion, definitely. So that works. So then what happens if after that 5 days they don't book an appointment? What happens with that person?
Yeah. So what the best thing to do, and this is why I think every advisor should have an email newsletter, is because
Okay.
if you're sending automations for a really, really extended long period of time, they become quite like outdated. So like if I have an automation sequence that you signed up to now and I'm sending you emails for
Mhm.
the next year, I think that, by the time you get to that email in a year's time that I've written today, it probably won't be that
Very
relevant.
good
You
point.
see
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think
Hmm.
when what I do is when they finish that sequence, they just go onto the newsletter of the advisor. So they're getting the updated, like recent emails of that week. And then the
Hmm.
newsletter just goes out. And that's the emails that convert.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So we've set everything up. We've got the appointments through. We've got people sat in front of the mortgage advisor.
Mhm.
When they sit back and look at the money that they've spent, how do they know if it's been a success or not?
Yeah. So the first thing you've got to think is like, okay, how much have I spent to get the appointments? And then the best thing to do is look at, okay, so from this appointment I got this many sales. Now the problem that can be with mortgages is that because they're quite, it can take a couple months. for a case to complete and to get your fee. But you basically reverse engineer it. So you look, okay, well, I've spent £500 on ads, and I've had in this, 420. Let's use the numbers I've got. You've got 427. You've got £427 spent, 23 appointments. I've got 23 appointments, and 4 of them have all gone like to the next stage. And if, let's say, a bit of drop off, 2 of those people complete, then I'll probably make, let's say, £3,000. So that's that's a profit. That's a return of like quite a multiple.
Whatever percentage it is, without us doing quick maths on this call. I do it all the time. I'm like, I'm not going to make a fool of myself. I'll just say that people have got the benefit of pausing this podcast episode and working it out themselves. Exactly. We're live, so we can't do that. Okay, so they would divide that up and work out how they do it. Okay, so we haven't really touched on. Do you think paid advertising on social to put people in this funnel is better than Google, or does it all depend?
Yeah, so it's quite like I think there's quite a few advisors out there who have tried Facebook and said it doesn't work because the quality is not as good. And I have found that with Facebook, from the funnels I've built, that you get a lot more people, but you have to filter through them quite a lot. Normally just because it's like there's not intent there. On Google, someone's searching for a mortgage. On Facebook, they're normally sat on the sofa scrolling and they see the thing.
Right. Okay. I see what you mean. So it's more brand awareness on social than it is take action kind of thing.
Exactly. You still do get people. Don't get me wrong. It's just I right now use Google more than I use Facebook, but I'm still like testing them because I do think that Facebook can work. The only thing I will say is that one of the best tools on Facebook for ads is something called lookalike audiences, which is like, say I get 100 leads and 10 of them are like my dream customer. Well, what most businesses can do is they can say to Facebook, hey, these 10 people, go after more people like that. Unfortunately, because mortgages are like regulated, you don't have that option in Facebook. Right. You're restricted from doing that, which is why they sometimes can't be as good as they are for other businesses. But there's still something that I always test it at the start, because for different niches they can have different effects.
Interesting. And what I would say on that subject, if you are looking at paid advertising, whether it be on Google or Facebook, please make sure your normal business pages are updated with topical content, because the last thing that you want to do is spend this money on generating leads and running this funnel, and they click on Smith's Mortgages, they fill out the quiz about adverse credit, and then they do a bit of research on you. They look at your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and there's no posts on there for the last year or 6 months or even 3 months. And people kind of think then it puts that just a bit of doubt in their mind, because they're thinking, well, if they're not posting, are they still trading? And in financial services, that you can't give people that seed of doubt. So between you, where you haven't posted for 3 months, or they look at Jones's Mortgages and they've been posting every week for the last 6 months, which one are they more inclined to do or to go with? So you're running all these ads, but make sure your social channels are updated with organic content as well, I would say.
And if you can as well, make a post about if it's a lead magnet you're promoting, make a post about it. Get as much out of it as you possibly can.
Okay, yeah. So it could be like a post saying 15-minute consultation call for people with adverse credit.
Yeah, it could be something like that. It could be like first-time buyers, we've made this free guide, go and check it out. Like there's, just gets a bit of attention from people. And
when you're on socials, on Facebook, you can pin a post to the top. On Instagram, you can pin a post to the top. So that's what I would do. Try and pin that lead magnet when you first put it out there. And when we talk about lead magnet, we're talking about a 15-minute appointment. We're talking about a quiz. We're talking about a PDF or a video. Pin that to the top. Okay, before we talk about how people can download your free guide, lead magnet again, we like to donate £10 to a charity of your choice. Which charity would you like us to donate to?
Yeah, so it's called Cardiac Risk in the Young, please. It's called
Perfect. We'll make that
the abbreviation.
The Cry. We will make that donation for you. Okay, so All of these people have listened to how to create a funnel, how to pick a niche, where to go, how to create the advert, what software to use to keep that email automation. But you've created a really handy guide, haven't you, that people can download.
Yeah.
Where can they get that from, Louis?
Yeah. So it's to prove that funnels work, I use them myself. You go to
Yeah.
course.labsmedia.uk/course. So course.labsmedia.uk/course.
Okay, perfect. We'll put the link in the show notes as well, so you can go and have a little look. And if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, it'll be all in there for you to go and download.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to end then on a quick tip. What would be, and this is catching Louis off guard, I haven't prepared him for this. What would be your top tip if somebody was going to fire up their computer tomorrow morning and go, right, I'm going to start with funnels? Have you got any free resources apart from yours that you'd recommend, or any top tips that could really help them, Louis?
I think the thing I always say to people is it's very Alex Hormozy again, but just just go with the how can I make this as helpful, as valuable to the people who I'm trying to get in the funnel. And if you go about it that way and you think, what's the best things I can give to these people, and then add a bit of realism to it, like you can't do everything for everyone, then it's better to go with that mindset than like I want to just get appointments. Like think about how you can help the person the most.
Okay, and the appointments will come off the back of that. And you've probably had this, clients have come to you and go, I don't know how to help people. What I would say is tomorrow, when you do your appointments, have a notebook by the side of you and write down every question that everybody says to you on the phone. A first-time buyer asks you, can I add stamp duty to a mortgage? Can I give 10 questions and make a PDF? You can go on Canva. You can create a free PDF with the 10 most frequently asked questions from first-time buyers. Imagine how powerful that would be to say to a first-time buyer after every appointment, I'm going to send you a PDF with some of the questions I think you're going to ask, or use it as a free download. So, Louis, if anybody does want to get in touch with you and have a chat to you about funnels, where's the best place for them to reach you?
Best place would be LinkedIn. I'm always posting on there. If you want to go and check out my, I post about this all the time, every single day. But if you want to book in a call, then you just go to my website, which is labsmedia.uk. And also the course is on there at the bottom as well. People want to find it and they get lost.
Perfect. Fantastic. And if you're looking for Louis on LinkedIn, it's Louis Adkins, Adkins, just in case anybody's listening and doesn't get a chance to look at the show notes. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Louis. Really appreciate your time. And I'm sure people have got so much value from that. That is exactly how you make a funnel. You pick your niche, you pick your area, you run the Google ads to drive people to that tool or that website that you've created, landing page, PDF, and then you put them into that email automation and just nurture them right up until their appointment.
Yeah, right up until they're ready to speak to you.
Awesome. Louis, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Chris, for having me. I really appreciate it as well.
Cheers.